One of the things that I think catches couples off guard with like how much of a pain in the butt it is creating your guest list. Like it's something that needs to happen and it probably needs to happen sooner rather than later, but honestly, it's like one of the least fun parts of wedding planning. You have to sit down and you have to create this list and the other thing is it's like really deceiving too. Like you think it's going to be really easy. Like, all we got to do is carve out the time, sit down, create this list, and everything will be great. When really it ends up being the biggest pain in the ass ever, and it's really hard, and it's not necessarily easy because there are many voices that have opinions about who should be invited. Like, if it were just you and your fiance, that would be fine. Like, you guys could probably sit down in an afternoon, knock that out, no problem, no big deal. But you have most people have both sets of parents that are giving their opinions. You have your parents on this side saying you need to invite these people. You have your fiance's parents on this side saying you need to invite these people. And you add all those names to the list, and now all of a sudden you're set. You wanted to have a 150 person wedding. Now you're at 225 because you feel like you have to invite all of these people. Then let's go ahead and add in the complicated matter of feeling the pressure to invite everyone that your parents want you to invite, both sets, because they're contributing financially, which is a real factor to consider, right? Like, parents are contributing like they're contributing finances and financial resources. Like, they should be able to invite a few people, but there are some people, not all parents. Most parents are fantastic and they would never expect anything from you. But there are some parents out there that would expect that, like, hey, we need to invite this full guest list that I want to go. And then to make matters even weirder, you're like, what do you mean we have to invite Aunt Carol? Aunt Carol lives in Saskatchewan. I don't even know where that is. I just know she lives like so far away. She's not even going to come, but we have to send a courtesy invite. But now we have to pay like the additional $5 per invite that it took because we went all out and got the wax seal, and then we got to pay postage. How much is postage? Now we have to do that for Aunt Carol. Like, good God, she's not even going to come, and she's not going to send a gift on the registry. So like there are all of these factors. And then it's possible that parents might want to invite coworkers that they have or that neighbor that they grew up with. There's all of these things that come into play. And now all of a sudden, the thing that you thought was supposed to be so easy turned out being so complicated, filled with drama, a big headache, all of that stuff. I'm here to save you some heartache and to save you some headaches because I believe I have a plan that can help you avoid and get ahead of a lot of this stuff. Now, I am a co-host on a podcast called The Bridal Breakdown with my great friend Ashley. She is also a wedding photographer. We have an episode that I'm going to link in the description below on this YouTube video that you need to go listen to. And I can't remember what it was called. Let me pull it up really quick. But that episode, and I'm going to link it anyways, and it doesn't even really matter. But that episode is all about building a guest list, and it's all about taking the headache out of it. Actually, I remember what it's called. It's called guest list anxiety, because there is a lot of anxiety that surrounds this topic of building a guest list. So I say all that to say we recorded an in-depth, longer episode. It's probably over an hour where we really dive in depth. This little short YouTube video is not going to be as in-depth. But I would encourage you to go listen to that podcast. I'm going to be covering one of the free resources that we give away, and I'm actually going to be using that as an outline. So this is content of the Bridal Breakdown. I helped create it as well, but we're just going to cover it here. And if you want this free PDF, you could just click the link below, go listen to the podcast, and that link will be in the show notes. I might also just drop that link in these show notes, so save you some steps. But this is a PDF that we created that's called the Guest List Creator. And here's what you need to do. The first step, determine your budget. Hey, look at you. You're already ahead. You already determined your budget because you emailed your vendors, you got prices, you made your budget, or you went the easy route and you hired a wedding planner. Then you need to realize that each head, so each guest, is money. There is a cost per person, whether that's $15 a head, 35 a head, 50 a head, 100 a head, whatever that is, each person, even if it's just 5 extra people. On the high end, that's $500. On the low end, what is that, like $145, $150? Like, these numbers start to skyrocket the more that you invite people. So understand that each person is ahead, and that they kind of just make your budget go larger the more and more that you invite people. Next thing is you need to create sectors. So let's say you're actually like, you need to create these sectors of people in your life. So let me give you some examples. A sector might be family, and you can break that family down, and you can go immediate family. You can go local family. You could say extended family. You can break that one down even more. You could say out of state family. Like, you need to create these pods, and then you list your names under there. And don't just go friends. I would say something like college friends, high school friends. I mean, you could have them all under friends. Couple friends, CrossFit friends, hiking friends. I mean, like, whatever you have that are your friends, it's just the better you can like break it down and niche down, the more effective it will be in having you see all those. Coworkers would be another sector. Maybe people you go to church with. Like, these are all sectors that you can break down, and you could begin to put people, and then you just begin to create your guest list. I'll kind of get to that more in a little bit. And then the next step would be knowing your wedding why, because your wedding why will influence your guest list. If your wedding why is to throw this rager of a party that is so much fun where everyone is there, it makes sense to go big with the numbers if your budget allows for it. If you want to have an intimate wedding and that's a part of your wedding why, and you only want to have 20 people max, yeah, that's going to be a small guest list. But when you know your wedding why, you could sit down and talk to your parents, share that vision with them, and share, hey, mom and dad, we actually don't want a really big wedding. We want to have this intimate thing with our favorite, closest people. And guess what? You're one of those people. Aunt Carol is not one of those people. Sorry, Aunt Carol. You can see photos of it because we'll have a photographer there. Like, your wedding why is going to influence your guest list. Now, the thing, like, I feel like this is a hack that we came up with when it comes to guest list. Because the worst thing about a guest list is being badgered by your parents about the guest list. When they say, hey, did you make that guest list yet? Hey, did you make that guest list yet? All of a sudden, you've been engaged for 6 months and you've not made the guest list. And now you're getting frustrated when they ask you. They're tired of asking you about it, and it's this whole thing. So here is the hackiest of hacks to be able to bypass a lot of these feelings of feeling overwhelmed and a lot of the anxiety that comes with guest list anxiety. And here it is. Beat them to it. Do the guest list before they ever ask you. Because guess what? When they say, hey, have you made that guest list yet? You say, actually, we have made that guest list. And then they're going to be like so blown away. But here's the next thing they're going to ask. They're going to say, oh, well, can I see it? And then, the anxiety is kind of back on from there just for a split second. But what I want to do is I kind of want to give you this little outline as to how to have a meeting with your parents about this. So here's what I suggest. You get ahead of them. You beat them to the punch. And you and your fiance sit down and you do what was listed above. You make your sectors. You've determined your budget. You've realized that every head is $1. And then, assign a number to that. We want to spend $35 a head and we're going to have 100 people. There's $3,500 that's in our budget. That's just for simple math. Maybe that math isn't even right. I hope it's right. God, I'm bad at math. Then you have your sectors, and then you remember your wedding why. You use all of that information to sit down with your fiance and create your getting list. Get your wedding guest list. God, words are hard sometimes. Here's how you make it fun. Make it a date night. If you guys like craft beer, or you like wine or mixed drinks or like specialty sodas or anything like that, have like your favorite drinks there. Get a charcuterie board, order in pizza, like put your favorite playlist on, create a playlist together. Like we're going to sit down and we're going to make this guest list thing fun, and we're going to make it an experience. Sit down, have some drinks, and just spout off every name of the people that you want. Create your sectors, throw them in those sectors. And it doesn't have to be perfect. You make the list, and then you get everyone out there and you realize oh my gosh, we have 200 people. We're going for 150 people. So then you refine it down. and you get down to 150 people, you go, okay, that's good. That's the first revision. Now what we're going to do is, and you have to be timely about this, you reach out to your parents, and then you're going to have a meeting with their parents. You're going to do these meetings separately, but your text or your phone call or your ask is going to sound something like this. Hey, Mom. Hey, Dad. Insert fiance's name, and I would like to have a meeting with you to go over our wedding timeline. We've created a rough draft. We've had one revision, but we want to go over it. We want to see if there's any names that you guys want to invite. So would you guys come up with a guest list of some people that you would like to make sure that are at our wedding? And then we'll come and we'll look at these together, and then we're going to take these names and we're going to try to make them work. Or something like that. And then you say the same thing to your fiance's parents. And then you have those meetings, and it's going to go so much better because you've taken the first step. You're the initiator. You're in the driver's seat. And let me just there's a lot of times with guest lists where you're like, oh, Mom, I don't want you to invite Cindy. Like, I can't stand her. Like, if Cindy is your mom's best friend, this is you ask yourself, like, is this a hill that you really want to die on? Yes, I know this is X amount of dollars per plate and per head, but like, you want your parents to have fun at your wedding too, right? And like, if your parents are there having fun at your wedding and they have a few of their friends there, like, it will only benefit you and it will benefit them. But like, sometimes it's better to just not die on that hill and give them some of those, because also they're probably kicking in a little financially, and then also like it's just gonna go over well. So that's my last little piece of advice with guest lists. But then you've initiated the individual meeting ASAP. You've gotten their list. Then you refine one more time, and then that's kind of what that looks like. And then hopefully you were there. And let's say that you were shooting for 150, but it ends up coming out to 180 with both, and like you've narrowed it down as much as you cannot get it any lower. It might be time to sit down and talk to either of your parents and say, hey, Mom and Dad, I know you guys really want so-and-so to come. Here's the dilemma that we're faced with. Our budget is X amount of dollars, and if we invite these additional 30 people, it's going to cost an additional $2,000. Would you guys be able to help with that? Like, there are ways that you can go about it. They're much more likely to want to help, obviously resources permitting, but if you've involved them in the process, that's how you make this process so much simpler. You get ahead of it. You strike first. You make the wedding guest list before they ever ask. And guess what? They're also going to be impressed. It's just going to go over really well for you. So, with that being said, if you have any questions, if you have any thoughts, drop them in the comments below. We'd love to have a conversation about this. Anything you agree with, anything you disagree with, was this helpful? Click the YouTube video. Again, comment below. Thanks for watching, guys. And as always, we hope that this information was helpful and beneficial to you.